I grabbed my boyfriend's phone by mistake and saw a message from his ex. I didn't take the pill that night. Those few words chilled me to the bone. 2 nights ago, I'd suffered acute gastritis. He was working overtime, and I'd called him over a dozen times without answer. Clenching through the stabbing pain, I'd taken a taxi to the hospital alone at 3 a.m. Turns out, his phone was off all night because he'd gone to see his ex-girlfriend. Today was the eve of my wedding to Ethan. His ex, Ivy, had insisted on tagging along with a group of old classmates to congratulate us. When I pushed open the door, I saw Ivy rise on her toes to kiss Ethan's lips. He didn't push her away. When she nearly stumbled, his hand settled on her waist, that tender gesture. So unlike his cold detachment toward me lately. Their classmates hooped like this was routine, their cheers scraping my throat raw. Sophia? Someone's startled shout finally separated them. The room froze as dozens of eyes locked onto me. Oh! Ivy gasped theatrically, rushing over with flushed cheeks. We lost a truth or dare game. Don't misunderstand. My fingers trembled. Earlier, while I'd stepped out, she'd sent a friend request with the note, "Guess what we're doing right now?" Followed by a swiftly deleted photo of her and Ethan. Her follow-up message, "Happy wedding," had arrived as innocently as her excuses now. When Ivy grabbed my wrist to explain, I shoved her away. She staggered backward, conveniently into Ethan's waiting arms. Rainwater slicked the floor, and my own shoes slid, sending me crashing into a table. My phone skidded across the room. The silence was absolute until someone retrieved it. Ethan finally moved to help me up. I recoiled, staring him down. "If I told you she texted me to." "Sophia, it was just a game." His icy tone cut through me. My ankle throbbed, but the real pain came slower, creeping humiliation. The delayed sting of betrayal. I fled to the restroom, splashing icy water on my face until my phone buzzed. A message from an unsaved number, Ivy's. Presumably. Then I realized this was Ethan's phone. My numb fingers opened their chat history before I could stop myself. Ivy's latest message glowed on the screen. "I forgot to take the morning after pill that night." The words blurred under harsh bathroom lights. So while I'd been scrambling to finalize wedding details, they'd slept together? Memories resurfaced, Ethan claiming overtime 3 days ago. Me collapsing with stomach pain after late-night venue preparations. The dates aligned perfectly. Ethan said he was working overtime at the office. I called him over a dozen times but couldn't get through, clenching my teeth against the stabbing pain in my chest. I took a taxi to the hospital alone at 3 a.m. Turned out his phone was off all night because he'd gone to see her. My heart felt like it was being ripped apart when I saw their text thread. A week ago, Ivy had sent him a photo of a ragdoll cat. "Our son is getting cuter every day." He'd replied with a curt then changed his phone wallpaper to the cat they'd raised together. I was still staring blankly at the screen when Ethan snatched the phone from my hands. His face darkened. "Did you take my phone on purpose?" Looking into those eyes that once felt like home, something inside me snapped. "Aren't you going to explain? First that kiss you called just a game. Now these texts. Why replace Snowball's photo with hers?" My voice cracked as I pointed at his phone, desperate for any excuse to believe him. He just locked the screen silently. Ethan had always been good at this, the same quiet intensity that drew me in years ago. He pursued me relentlessly after finding Snowball when the puppy got stolen during our walk. I still remember him sitting on concrete pavement, sweat-drenched from chasing the dog thief, saying, "When you cry, I don't know what to do," as moonlight lit his earnest face. "Snowball will always stay with you. So will I." We'd been together 3 years. 2 months after accepting his proposal, his college sweetheart Ivy reappeared. At first he'd been transparent, telling me whenever she called or visited his office. But tonight changed everything. My tears fell uncontrollably now, ugly sobs shaking my whole body. After what felt like eternity, Ethan said tonelessly, "You should know this seeing you break down like this." I feel nothing. The finality in his voice shattered me. Later, my best friend sent a voice note thick with guilt, reminding me how Ethan and I met that rainy night when her stepbrother couldn't pick us up from hiking. So she called her business associate Ethan instead. The man who'd mended my broken world only to smash it again. Perhaps that's why my best friend felt so guilty. She texted again immediately, "Don't move. We're coming to pick you up from the hotel." I didn't have time to dwell on her use of we, splashing cold water on my face. I stood to leave only to find Ivy standing behind Ethan in the doorway. Her quiet gaze held unmistakable pity, laced with that familiar undercurrent of mockery she'd perfected over 2 months of orchestrated chance encounters. I'd never understood her confidence during those earlier encounters. Even when Ethan treated her with glacial indifference, she'd looked at me with those eyes, that peculiar blend of subtlety and bold declaration. The puzzle pieces clicked during dinner with his parents last month. His mother had passed me the fish platter, beaming, "Eat up, Ivy dear. The sea base is fresh." Her wrinkled hand hovered midair as my chopsticks clattered against the plate. In that moment, Mrs. Sullivan's affectionate smile merged with Ivy's smirking stare. Later in our room, Ethan's arms encircled me before I could speak. "Mom's getting forgetful in her old age," he murmured into my hair. "You'll forgive her, won't you?" I turned to face him. "When she kept coming to you all those times, did you ever?" My voice trailed off. The prolonged silence stretched like taffy before he finally whispered, "You're my only thought now, sweetheart." His tender exasperation dissolved my doubts. Yet we spent that night separated by a study door he claimed needed late work. Now, standing between them in the hotel corridor, the betrayal crystallized. Each previously overlooked detail, the matching heirloom watches they accidentally bought each other, their synchronized excuses for working late coalesced into jagged shards. Ethan had been my first love, my certainty. I'd never been his. Not the first, nor the last. "Cancel tomorrow's ceremony," I managed, brushing past him. "We'll explain to our parents tonight. Since the license isn't." Rain slapped my cheeks as I pushed through the hotel doors. The November chill seeped through my blouse as I checked my silent phone for the 13th time. Sudden shelter from the downpour made me glance up. Liam's long fingers curled around the umbrella handle, tilted protectively toward me, his dark hair glistening with caught raindrops. "Sophia's in the car," he said simply. I blinked. Though Liam was Sophia's brother, our interactions had never extended beyond polite nods at family gatherings. The prickle between my shoulder blades made me turn. Ethan stood framed in the hotel's golden light, watching us with marble-carved stillness. Sliding into the Mercedes leather seat, I finally let my mother's insistent call through. "Ethan already told me everything. What's the big deal about calling off a wedding? Do you have to drive me to an early grave to be satisfied?" An engine suddenly roared to life ahead. Liam gripped the steering wheel, his sharp features looking unnervingly cold in the dim dashboard glow. My mother paused on the phone, clearly struggling to contain her anger. "We'll discuss this at your father's house." The line went dead. "Your mom," Ivy squeezed my ice-cold hand, her expression troubled. "Forget it." I smiled bitterly after a beat. "I'm used to it. Ever since my parents rebuilt their separate families, my mother with her precious son, my father with his new daughter, their indifference had long since stopped surprising me." During the drive, Ivy mentioned they'd been dining at a nearby restaurant when Liam insisted on accompanying her here. The unspoken implication hung heavier than the summer humidity. We arrived at my father's mansion before sunset. My mother sat rigid on the ivory sofa while my father chain-smoked across from her. His current wife and daughter had conveniently disappeared. Because of some stupid game? My mother's shrill laugh grated against the marble floors as I entered. "Only your daughter would humiliate us like this." My father stubbed out his cigarette. "Final decision?" "Yes. I'll handle the fallout." "Absolutely not." My mother shot up. finger quivering as she jabbed it at me. Invitations went out months ago. Do you have any idea how embarrassing? I never should've. The words hit like shrapnel even though I'd braced for them. It's not just the game. Mom. I saw Ethan's messages. They slept together Tuesday night. Her anger faltered for a heartbeat before hardening. Nonsense. Ethan's helping your brother land that consulting job. He'd never. The oxygen left my lungs. She actually prioritized my half-brother's career over my humiliation. Enough. My father's shout cracked like thunder. She's made her choice. Don't pretend to care now. My mother whirled on him. You dumped her at your rural mother's the second the divorce papers cleared. Sold her childhood dog because it barked at your precious replacement daughter. She gestured wildly at the family portrait where I'd been photoshopped out years ago. When was the last time you even looked at her? You think you're better? My father's neck cords bulged. Your entire world revolves around that boy. Their vitriol faded as I retreated to the guest wing. No permanent room here. Just a bridal suite prop for tomorrow's canceled ceremony. My phone buzzed with a KTV photo from Ivy. There she stood, microphone in hand, smiling at Ethan's shadowed figure across the room. The screen displayed lyrics from that overplayed breakup ballad, I'd Love You Again. Rewrite our end. Around them, our former classmates blurred into scenery. I also wanted tomorrow to hold anticipation. To fall in love again. I thought I'd cry. But strangely, I felt utterly calm at this moment. Calmly blocking Ivy. Calmly calling every guest one by one to cancel the wedding. After the last notification, Ethan's call suddenly came through. The background noise crackled through the phone. Ethan remained silent for a long moment before his voice turned arctic. You're serious about this? I didn't want to argue. Yes. I replied tonelessly, hanging up. As I prepared to power off my phone, Liam's message lit up the screen, don't forget to disinfect the cut on your ankle. My breath caught. During the commotion at the hotel, a table had scraped my ankle, not a shallow wound. Yet I'd hidden the pain throughout. Ethan hadn't noticed. My parents hadn't noticed. Yet he'd seen through everything. The storage room smelled of dust and forgotten things. Rummaging through drawers, I actually found a first aid kit. Maybe it was Liam's unexpected kindness that made me meticulously clean the wound. So focused I didn't hear the knocking until the door swung open. Ethan stood framed in the doorway. Antiseptic cotton pads clattered to the floor. My mother hovered behind him, deliberately avoiding my stunned gaze. I still don't believe Ethan would betray you, she said stiffly. You two should talk properly. The door clicked shut, sealing us in suffocating silence. His eyes dropped to my bandaged ankle. From earlier? He asked awkwardly. Warm fingers brushed my cold hand. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I jerked away as if burned. Leave. My frostiness visibly startled him. But he recovered quickly. Sophia, he said, using my childhood nickname like a weapon. Marriage isn't a game. Won't you even hear me out? Hear what? A bitter laugh escaped me. How you forgot to push Ivy away when she kissed you. Or why you abandoned me to chase after her last night when I needed you most. Ethan's jaw tightened. That project crisis kept me at the office all night. My phone died in the conference room. You were silent when I needed answers most. I cut him off. Late explanations mean nothing now. His composure cracked. It wasn't like that. Ivy borrowed my phone during the reunion. She must have changed the lock screen then. When we accidentally swapped devices later. I never saw what she sent you. By the time I checked, she'd already recalled the message. The air left my lungs. Ivy had pulled similar tricks before. These past weeks, the stress. Ethan loosened his tie. Genuine remorse flashing across his features. When everyone started shouting, I froze. Forgot to push her away. But Sophia. His hand crept toward mine again. There's nothing between us now. I counted 2 heartbeats before withdrawing my hand. Physical cheating isn't the only betrayal. Ethan. Your silence cut deeper than any affair. You might dismiss the damage. But I can't. His fingers curled into fists as I continued. Voice trembling. You never noticed, not my pain. Not even when I bled right before you. What does that say about us? The truth hung between us. Sharp as broken glass. Outside. Rain began pattering against the window. Each drop echoing the fractures spreading through 13 years of shared history. The tenderness in your expression when facing her was unmistakable. Ethan froze. He probably forgot that whether it was impulsive words or heartfelt confession, he'd explicitly stated before that my tears no longer affected him. As he seemed about to speak again, I coldly cut him off. Since you refuse to leave, I will. I strode past him and opened the door. His hoarse voice followed me. Don't go. To my surprise, Liam waited in the living room below, casually scrolling through his phone with a medicinal ointment on the coffee table. Noticing me, he sighed. Sophia panicked when she heard about your injury. Made me deliver this personally. I started explaining I'd already applied treatment when peripheral movement caught my attention. Ivy stood there with an inscrutable smile. How cozy. Made up with Ethan already? I arched an eyebrow. What do you think we were doing upstairs all that time? Her smile faltered as vivid scenarios visibly played through her mind. The satisfaction of finally countering her provocations faded quickly when Ethan emerged. Why are you still here? He demanded, gaze shifting between Ivy and Liam. Ivy's composure cracked. You dragged me here to explain things to my parents. Now that you've reconciled, you're discarding me? Ethan's silence spoke volumes. Watching his dismissiveness toward Ivy felt surreal. You shouldn't treat me like this. Ethan. Ivy whispered, pride dissolving into pale desperation. Are you really abandoning me? When Ethan wordlessly curved his arm around my waist, Ivy laughed harshly. From her purse emerged a prenatal report bearing her name 1 month pregnant. That night 2 days ago? Nothing happened. She purred. But during your Cold War last month, when he went drinking, my vision tunneled. Ethan's ashen face confirmed everything before he rasped. Sophia. The raw helplessness in his eyes made me realize the affection I'd nurtured was evaporating, leaving only revulsion. No one forced you to forget her. You could have stayed loyal to your precious bond. Why drag me into this? I drank too much that night. Don't. I snapped. Spare me that it meant nothing lies. Your cowardice disgusts me. Grandma's passing had left Ethan as my sole anchor. Maybe I'd inflated his basic decency into devotion through my own loneliness. But did that mean I deserved betrayal? Wasn't I worthy of wholehearted love? Long minutes later, Ethan finally murmured, I'm sorry, before walking out of my life. When his silhouette vanished, Ivy smirked triumphantly. You think you've won? That report's dated before our last encounter. The baby isn't his. Her laughter rang hollow. But seeing his reaction, you'll always wonder. Won't you? She left the falsified document beside Liam's untouched ointment. The grandfather clock's ticking echoed through the empty house where 3 casualties of love remained, one carrying new life, one nursing old wounds, and me, clutching medical supplies for injuries no balm could heal. Now do you get it? You'll never beat me. I stared at Ivy speechlessly, suddenly doubting, was she really Ethan's college classmate? More importantly, had this brain of hers ever actually attended university? Before I could ask, a deep voice spoke behind us. If the pregnancy is 1 month along, I'd recommend getting CT and MRI scans early for the child's future. Ivy frowned. What's that supposed to mean? Liam's tone remained calm. When cognitive dysfunction is suspected, thorough imaging helps identify pathological changes and assess hereditary risks. I froze, then burst into laughter. Ivy finally caught on. Are you calling me brain damaged? Liam didn't deny it. While full recovery is unlikely, proactive treatment is still advisable. She stormed off cursing, resembling a yappy neighborhood puppy losing a fight to my snowball. I was still catching my breath from laughing when I turned and found Liam watching me. "Rest well," he said casually under my gaze. "Mission accomplished for you. Time to head out." From the balcony, I watched his car disappear before exhaling slowly. My phone rang immediately upon returning inside. "Sophia. Ivy's pregnant?" After recounting the scene and praising Liam's verbal takedown skills, Sophia paused. "Wait, my brother went to your place?" He told me he was returning to the office. I'd been staying with Sophia since that day, apartment hunting between shifts. Belongings left at Ethan's could wait. With Liam overseas for a 1-month business trip, accepting Sophia's offer felt easier. My parents' repeated calls went unanswered. Ethan never contacted me either. According to Sophia, Ivy had moved into his mother's home, playing perfect caregiver despite Ethan's refusal to visit. None of that concerned me now. Today, celebrating my new lease, we tried ice skating. The early morning rink sat nearly empty, perfect for beginners. Bold-faced Sophia death-gripped the railings. Trembling. "I need to mentally prepare. You go first." Clumsily edging along the boards. I recalled my last attempt years prior. After 30 minutes, I tentatively released the rail, just as a speedster whizzed past. "Careful." The familiar baritone preceded a steadying hand at my waist. I looked up into Liam's obsidian eyes. He wore a tailored black coat. Travel wrinkled yet imposing. "Sophia texted your location after my flight landed." His thumb brushed my elbow as I instinctively grabbed the railing again. A low chuckle escaped him. Shrugging off his coat, he tapped the boards. "Still hopeless at this? Teach me then." My cheeks burned, but I met his gaze. His lips curved, warm and unguarded. "Gladly. If it weren't for this ice skating session, I'd never have known Liam could be so patient." He slowed his movements, carefully explaining techniques and proper form. Except for that moment when I accidentally fell against him, his body briefly stiffened, he remained effortlessly composed throughout. After skating a while, I realized I'd hardly fallen at all. Turning excitedly to him, I began, "I think I can finally." Liam gazed steadily at me, amusement coloring his voice. "You've graduated." His eyes glowed with unexpected warmth, those usually detached depths now resembling tranquil spring waters. Something unfamiliar flickered there, making me pause. When Xiao Xiao got called back to the office for emergency revisions, Liam drove me home alone. I kept waiting for him to speak, but he simply focused on the road. Just as I wondered if I'd imagined the tension, he pulled over. "I've always regretted it," he said abruptly. I blinked. "What?" "That day when Xiao Xiao kept calling, you two couldn't get a cab. She tried reaching me first while I was buried in work. When I didn't answer, his knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. She called Ethan instead." Liam turned toward me. "Our first meeting wasn't at the gallery. It was here. 3 years ago. My father brought my 6-year-old sister skating, dragged me along. You were with your family then. Your father teaching your little sister while you clung to the rail, watching silently." My breath caught as fragmented memories resurfaced. "You tried skating alone but kept struggling. When you went to ask your father for help," his voice darkened. "He was on the phone." Back turned. "Then your sister got bumped. You lunged to cushion her fall." Liam's jaw tightened. "Your father assumed you'd caused it. Screamed at you before carrying your sister away. Left you there alone." He studied my face. "I expected tears. But you just practiced. Fell countless times without sound. Only when you hit the ice hard enough for tears to spill did you touch your wet cheek. Smiled that empty little smile." His throat worked. "That's when I understood you weren't numb. You were desperately trying to cry. Trying to save yourself. Eyes locked with mine. He murmured. First time I ached for a stranger. It took moments to find my voice. He apologized later. Said someone returned our skates and told him the truth. Bought me expensive skates to make up for it. I never used them. Realization dawned. Before I could ask. Liam answered. That was me. I told him. My pulse quickened. By the time our paths crossed again, his gaze dropped. You were already with Ethan. As we exited the car, my distracted stumble had Liam instinctively studying me. Watch your step. He chided, hand lingering at my waist. I wasn't watching the path. I was watching him. The familiar voice sliced through the night. Sophia. Ethan stood beneath barren trees. Moonlight rendering his features gaunt. He'd lost weight these past months. Shadows haunting his eyes. What's wrong? I mocked. Shouldn't you be tending to your precious ivy? He ignored the barb. Stare shifting between Liam and me. How far has this gone? The raw accusation stunned me. Ethan. I said coldly. You forfeited any right to ask. A muscle twitched in his jaw. Ivy's not pregnant. I froze. The test results she showed me? His throat bobbed. Stolen from her pregnant friend, also named Ivy. The due date, it was never possible. The night air turned glacial as his words hung between us. I froze for a moment. Instinctively glancing at Liam, who happened to be looking back at me. We simultaneously read the same thought in each other's eyes. Ivy might actually be insane. Yesterday's explosive argument with Ivy had laid everything bare, even that drunken night I couldn't remember. But before Ethan could finish saying we didn't actually, Liam interrupted with bone-dry amusement. So not crossing the finish line means nothing happened? When a butcher scalds, cleans, and prepares the pig but doesn't eat it, does that mean he did nothing to the pig? Ethan's face darkened as Liam calmly added. It's just an analogy. After heavy silence, Ethan turned to me. Sophia. My name sounded like broken glass in his throat. No matter what I say or do now, you'll never forgive me? Never. I answered without hesitation. He stiffened, whispering. But Ivy's gone, she wasn't even pregnant. We fixed the problem. You were starting to. Do you remember the broken wristwatch in your drawer? I interrupted. At his confused nod, I continued. The one you claimed was from relatives? It was Ivy's. Wasn't it? Know how I figured it out? His lips trembled silently as I revealed. She sent me photos from your reunion. Matching couple watches. His face went slack. The real betrayal wasn't her. I said quietly. It was you handing her the knife every time. When tears spilled from his bloodshot eyes, I whispered. I never want to see you again. True to my words. Ethan vanished from my life after that day. Xiao Xiao became my permanent houseguest post-move, claiming she'd grown accustomed to our sleepovers. Every night, Liam would video call her, seamlessly redirecting conversations to include me until it felt like our private ritual. Our weekend hikes always began as trio adventures, though Xiao Xiao usually bailed halfway up the trail. I knew she played matchmaker, while I'd grown comfortable with Liam's presence. Commitment still terrified me until Xiao Xiao shoved his journal into my hands. The notebook contained scant daily entries except for one phrase relentlessly repeated since our reunion. Ink bleeding through pages, won the project. Lost my wife. I was still gaping when Liam rushed in, ears burning crimson as he snatched the journal. Just scribbles, he muttered. His flustered dignity unraveled my knotted anxieties. Here stood the man who'd loved me through years and missteps, offering the unwavering devotion I craved. Heart pounding, I gestured for the journal. After scratching out the first 6 words, I pointed to the remaining 2. Read this. Wife. Liam breathed, wonder softening his features. Blushing, I answered the unspoken question. Yes.